Every town has one channel nobody remembers subscribing to. In Merrow Creek, population 2,000 and shrinking, that channel was Channel 5. It didn't show up on any guide. You had to know the number. Most people forgot it existed until the year the power lines came down in the January ice storm, and half the town went dark, and the only thing still broadcasting on battery-powered sets and car radios tuned to the wrong frequency was Channel 5. That's where this story starts. With a 17-year-old named Dana Ferris, alone in her house, waiting for her mother's shift at the hospital to end. The storm had knocked the internet out first, then the landline, then the power. Dana found the old portable TV in the hall closet, the one her dad used to watch football on back before he left, and she plugged it into the inverter her mother kept for emergencies. Static. Then, at the very end of the dial, past Channel 68, past the numbers that were supposed to stop existing, a picture. Channel 5. It showed a newsroom, gray walls, a single desk, a woman in a blazer the color of dishwater. The caption at the bottom read, "Local, live, no timestamp, no logo Dana recognized." The anchor was mid-sentence. Residents in the low-lying areas should expect continued outages through the night. If you're watching this broadcast, please remain in your homes. Dana almost turned it off. It was just the emergency network, some backup feed the county ran. But then the anchor did something anchors don't do. She looked directly into the camera, past the teleprompter, and said, "Dana, is your mother still at Merrow Creek General?" Dana's stomach dropped in the specific way it does when something impossible happens quietly, without any music sting to announce it. She told herself she'd misheard. Storms did strange things to old electronics, crossed signals, radio bleed, some truckers' CB looping into the audio. She turned the TV off. 30 seconds later, it turned itself back on. The anchor hadn't moved. Same gray suit, same unblinking stare, like she'd been paused and unpaused. "Dana," she said again, "you should check on your neighbor, Mr. Halloway. He hasn't answered his door since 6 o'clock. Dana looked out the window. Mr. Halloway's porch light was on, flickering with the same brown-out rhythm as every other house on the street. Ordinary. Except she hadn't told anyone she'd noticed his mail piling up. She hadn't told anyone that at 6 o'clock she'd watched him get into his car and never come back out. She hadn't told anyone. There was no one to tell. She grabbed a flashlight and crossed the yard in the sleet, because 17-year-olds in these stories always go outside, and because some small, rational part of her needed to prove the television wrong. Mr. Halloway's car was still in the driveway, engine long cold, driver's door open 6 inches, dome light dead. He wasn't in it. His front door was unlocked. His television was on. Channel 5. The same anchor, same gray blazer. On his screen, though, she was saying something different. Dana could hear it through the open door before she even stepped inside. "And if you found this residence empty, please return to your home and lock the door. Do not go looking for him." Dana went looking for him anyway. She found him in the garage, sitting in a folding chair, facing a second television that wasn't plugged into anything. It was on anyway. He wasn't moving, but he wasn't dead either. His chest rose and fell, slow, like a man in a very deep sleep who'd forgotten to blink for hours. The screen in front of him showed the newsroom from a different angle, same anchor. But now Dana could see, just at the edge of frame, a second desk, a second chair, empty, waiting. The anchor's eyes tracked, very slowly, from the empty chair to some fixed point that Dana understood with the specific cold clarity of nightmares. was the camera she herself was standing behind, right now, in Mr. Halloway's garage. "Dana," the anchor said, "we've been trying to fill this seat for a long time." Dana ran. She didn't remember crossing the yard. She remembered her own front door slamming, the deadbolt, the flashlight beam shaking across the hallway carpet. The portable TV in the living room was on. She hadn't left it on. It showed static now, just static, hissing, patient. Then, faint under the hiss, a voice, not the anchor's, but a man's, tired and small, coming through like it was traveling a long way to get there. "Dana, it's your dad." She hadn't heard that voice in 3 years, not since he'd driven out of Marrow Creek one October morning and simply not come back, the way Mr. Halloway hadn't come back tonight. The way, she realized with a lurch, half the missing persons flyers, still stapled to the corkboard outside the grocery store, had never been taken down. "Don't watch the anchor," the voice said. "Don't let her find your chair empty. She's been counting for years. She only needs one more." The static swallowed him. The portable TV went black, then bright, then black. And in the last flash of picture, just before it died for good, Dana saw the newsroom one final time. The second chair, no longer empty. Her father was sitting in it, hands folded on the desk, staring out at her with an expression that wasn't fear anymore. It was relief, the relief of a man who'd finally stopped being the one they were looking for. Marrow Creek got its power back the next afternoon. The county apologized for the outage, blamed a downed transformer on Route 9. Nobody could explain Channel 5. When Dana's mother called the cable company, they had no record of any such frequency ever being licensed in the county. Not now, not ever. Mr. Halloway was found wandering the highway 3 miles out, unable to say where he'd been or how he'd gotten there. He never went back inside his house. He sold it within the month and left Marrow Creek for good, the way so many people from that town eventually did, quietly, without much explanation, their names lingering on flyers nobody bothered to take down. Dana still lives there. She's careful now about which channels she leaves on when the power flickers. She unplugs every television in the house before a storm, out of habit, out of something closer to ritual. But sometimes, late at night, when the wind picks up and the lines start to hum the way they do before a real storm hits, she'll pass a dark screen in the hallway and see, just for a second, her own reflection sitting a little too still in a chair that isn't there, waiting to see if the seat is still empty. If you like this story, just subscribe for more.